Now, as a woman, having one's breasts removed is a huge step. But mother of three, Georgina Tuson, had to make the huge decision when she was confronted with the fact that she had a staggering 90% chance of developing breast cancer and a 60% chance of getting ovarian cancer. Georgina, her partner and two of her three children join me now in the studio to tell us what it's all been like. Thank you so much for coming in. I want to welcome Georgina, we've got Derek, we've got Olivia and we've got Joseph. Melody couldn't come today, so we've got two of the three musketeers.
Yeah, that's right.
So Georgina, if I start with you, can you just first of all tell me kind of what happened and how did you find out and then what happened?
About 18 months ago, my father found out that he tested positive for BRCA1, which is a genetic mutation, which isn't so bad for men, but for women it means that I had my father found out that he had this BRCA1, which meant that I also had a 50% chance of having the BRCA mutation. For women, that meant, as you said earlier, 90% chance of breast cancer and a 60% chance of ovarian cancer. So I obviously went to have the genetic test. Unfortunately, that came back as positive, which again, in turn, means that my three children could possibly have the genetic mutation as well. So for me, there was no real option apart from going to have the surgeries to prevent the extreme risk that I had.
And so how did you kind of feel when you found out? Because that's quite big news to get.
It was horrific. It was horrific. It really was. It was a shock, a huge shock. To be honest, I hadn't even heard of BRCA before my dad told me that he was a carrier of the gene. We'd had a lot of cancer in the family as well. So that's kind of how we found out. But it was shocking, absolutely shocking. It was devastating. But at the end of the day, it was something that you've got to face head on. It's there. It was there. So I had no choice but to deal with it.
So you made the decision, you've had your breasts removed and your ovaries removed.
I was given the option of having either a surveillance, so going in every year to have surveillance MRIs taken. But again, as my consultant said, that I could go in, have the testing, and then 2 weeks later I might have the start of a cancer that wouldn't be picked up again to the following year. So for me, I mean, I've got three children, you know, I didn't want to live with that risk hanging over my head. So I decided that no, I'm not going to take any risk than I need to. So the best thing to do is just to have the two operations. And
what was it like kind of going through these operations? They're, you know, quite big, quite intrusive and quite dramatic.
It was horrific. No, to be honest, my children were my focus. That was it. I just wanted them to see me go through it, be brave. You know, if I can do it, you can do it. You know, if that was to go that way. So I had my double mastectomy on the 1st of June last year, and then the hysterectomy was the following 6 weeks later. So it was two big operations very quickly. But unfortunately, in between that time, when I had my first MRI done before the mastectomy, they found a lump in my left breast, which was obviously a huge worry because we thought that, oh dear, you know, maybe we've left it too late. But they did some tests and it came back as benign, thank goodness. So then it was literally all systems go, just get on with the operations. I'm not messing around. So yeah.
Gosh, well, can I say that, you know, you look amazing now. And did you have kind of reconstructive breast surgery?
I have had, reconstruction at the same time. It was an 8-hour operation in the end, and they were able to do reconstruction at the same time. But one of the worst things was I didn't know if I was going to wake up with anything there or if I was going to wake up completely flat-chested. So when I came to, and the lovely nurse was there, and she said, "Look, we've done it all at the same time." 8 hours later, I was so relieved, so relieved. Yeah. So
it must have been a really stressful time for all of you. I'll start with you, Derek. How did you kind of deal with it?
I kind of sort of went into autopilot, I suppose. Georgina was quite strong, and a really strong family around her as well, which is nice to see. I'm from Zimbabwe originally, so all my family's miles away, but it's nice to see all the family kind of pull together.
I really am lucky. I've got such a strong family. My mum was there with me through the whole thing. My friend Erica. I mean, work were brilliant. Everyone was just so supportive.
The way you were strong with it kind of made it even easier for me, kind of thing. Sort of autopilot, did what I needed to do. But yeah, you were so strong throughout all this. It made it a lot easier for me to cope then. It was just being supportive in any way I could, really, helping out with anything else.
And Joseph and Olivia, what did you think when you kind of found out? Because it must have been massive news.
Yeah, I was like really worried, but like she really made a good decision, and like, yeah.
Yeah. We had a few tears. We all had a few tears together, didn't we? But my children were absolute bricks. They really were. You were such rocks for me, and they were my focus the whole way through, just for the children. That's it.
And how do you think your mum is now? Now, I mean, she's kind of been through a huge thing. How's she come out the other side?
Well, I think it's made her a lot stronger physically and mentally, because it means that she can build up on it, knowing that she has done something that will change her life.
Absolutely.
Oh, well done, Georgina. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I mean, one of the most difficult things about this is that obviously you found out that it's a genetic thing, which means that potentially, you know, you could be a carrier, Joseph, and potentially, Olivia, it could affect you later in life. Do you mind if I ask you kind of, how does that worry you, or do you think that having seen your mum, you would be able to deal with it? What?
Yeah, like, Mum's like, knowing she did it, I know, like, now it's possible, like, anyone can really do it.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah.
And what would you say to other women out there, Georgina, who kind of either, you know, don't know or might, you know, have found out something that they might have breast cancer, they might, you know, have a high risk of getting these cancers and are sort of really nervous about going through these huge surgeries?
You can do it. You can do it. At the end of the day, for me, you know, if you've got people, unfortunately, in your family that have had, you know, cancer, and there is enough of it, go and see your doctor, ask to have the BRCA1, BRCA2 tests, get yourself tested, you know, and if it does come back positive, it's not the end of the world. You can deal with it. You really can. You know, you just draw on the people around you. You can do it.
And I mean, some people would say that, you know, you're really fortunate because you have children, and, you know, they're really lovely. Thank you for coming in, guys. But, you know, there could be that someone found out, you know, earlier on, perhaps,
They don't
in their
operate
life.
before. At the moment, they don't operate before you're 30 anyway.
Okay.
And then, I mean, you have to speak to other people, but as far as I know, you can freeze eggs and things like that for the, you know, the future if you're not ready to have children in that time. So, yeah.
So there are options.
There are
out
options
there.
out there. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Georgina, an inspiring story. It's so lovely to have, you know, such a wonderful family on the sofa with me. Take care and best of luck to you all for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.